Hello lovely people, it is that time again, the time when we sit down and chat about some books, otherwise known as Book Chat.
Doobie 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 Sophie Vlogs.
The highly original named series continues with this, the fifth installment, I believe. So it was about time I did another one of these, had a little catch up, little chatter about some things that I want to talk about but I don't want to do a full video on. Let's dive in. First of all, we have some poetry. Remember that bit where I said at the beginning of the year that I wanted to read more poetry? I've been reading this for maybe 4 or 5 months, could be longer. Been dipping in, dipping out, having a little noozle every now and then. This is Metaphysical Poets, introduced and edited by Helen Gardner, revised edition, The Penguin Poets. It's a collection of metaphysical poetry. Essentially, it has a lot of your faves, like John Donne. John Donne? John Donne. Maybe I shouldn't have chosen him as my example, but we'll go with it. Him, plus like good old Shaky, and like Andrew Marvell, Ben Jonson, all this sort of stuff. Spans a while. So yeah, it was good to read people who I studied but haven't really read for fun since, and remind myself that actually like there's a reason you study them because they're very good poets. And also like discover some people. For example, apparently I quite like Aurelian Townsend. What a fantastic name as a start. Aurelian is a name that wasn't on my radar of names, but it is now. Don't really have a lot of like critique to say because there's so many different poets in it, but should you be wishing to become more familiar with metaphysical poetry, would recommend it for that purpose. Moving On is a book that I do not have a physical copy of because I borrowed it, but I read The Trial by Franz Kafka. I have previously read The Metamorphosis, liked that, sort of liked reading about it after I'd read it to sort of hear other people's like critical opinions and like explanations and stuff. That was really interesting. And they're not very long, they're only little, so I thought, have another go. Oh, and also, I am attempting the Rory Gilmore reading challenge, not to do all of it, but just like a chunk of it. And that's on there, so I thought that's a good one to do. This was interesting. It was interesting in so far as looking at a portrayal of this like society slash judicial system, which like achieves nothing, but is constantly going. I don't really know how to describe it. It was a book that made me think a lot, and that also I felt like maybe I didn't have the full tools or capacity, like the full tools at my disposal to really quite get what he's saying, but at the same time it was unfinished, and finding that out I think made me feel a little bit better because I was like, here was a lot of it, but also was like, have I missed something? Is there more that I should be drawing from this? So like, interesting. Still mulling it over, still like formulating some thoughts, but definitely like an interesting read. Moving on to some like more contemporary stuff. We have The Burning Page by Genevieve Cogman. I'm not doing a separate video on this because I don't have so many rambly thoughts on it, other than the fact that it was flipping great. As I said in my other video, first book was very fae orientated, second book you get a little bit more about dragons and stuff. This book you get a little bit more about like library and some old foes might return and stuff like this. Don't want to give too much away. Was super great, did not like lose any of its fast pace at all, and just super enjoyed it. There is going to be a fourth one. I will read the fourth one. I'm very pleased. I love this series. On to another series that I love. Cocaine Blues by Kerry Greenwood. This is one of the books that I set myself to read in 2017, and I loved every second of it. I am a big fan of the TV show. In my current filming time, it's my turn to choose a podcast topic next, and I am going to be talking about Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, the TV show. So I thought it'd be a good idea to read the book before that, just so I can have like a little bit of a comparison. Largely they're the same. This book is what the first episode of the TV show is based off of, so the plot pretty much the same, really. A character difference, which intrigues me. There's a character in this who's not in the TV series who I like, who I hope is in more books, because I do intend on reading more books. I've essentially realised that I don't really like uber serious, like, murder slash crime things. Like, I don't want, like, a really dark examination of a crime. I want some light frippery, which involves usually a lady detective going around the place and just being utterly fabulous like Friday is. Just, oh, I love her so much. Just going about the place and using her sparkling wit and general knowledge of stuff to just like solve some mysteries and like bring some criminals to justice and all this sort of thing. Like, it's my cup of tea. I love it. I have like a solid foundation in Agatha Christie that is thanks to my nan, which is just like the right fuel, which mean I would like this. And I did like it. That wasn't really a sentence, but I'm just enthusiastic. So I would say if you like murder mysteries, but also like they're not always murders that are happening in the Miss Fisher world. If you like mystery stuff that is a bit light and, you know, a lot of fun, essentially, I would really recommend you check out both the book and the TV series because they are fantastic. And finally, we're going to end on something that I literally read today, which I previously hauled in my graphic novel haul, and that is A Distant Neighbourhood by Jiro Taniguchi, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I mentioned in my haul video that I was interested to see how like this whole time travel thing really works in this universe, stuff like that. It's definitely expanded upon a bit, but I still find myself with questions at the end of it all, but I think those are questions that I'm supposed to have. Like, I don't think it's a lack on the writer's part. I think it's just like you're supposed to not have all the answers and just be left wondering a little bit. It was perfectly enjoyable. I do find sometimes things a little bit weird when you have like an adult mind in a child body. I like that they explored like the ways in which that would give you an advantage in, like, for example, school. There was like a plotline which was like sort of romantic, which I found a little bit weird because he does have the consciousness of an adult, but they didn't go like massively far with that. It was just like there. I don't know. I'm puzzling those thoughts out. On the whole, interesting, really easy to read. Like, the art style is very, you know, like you can follow it quite well. It's all black and white, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, good, solid book. So I should end all of my reviews with just like a awkwardly spaced out sentence. So, this has been book chat number 5. I've been me, you've been you. We've chatted about some books. If you would like to make this a two-sided conversation, please do leave me some form of comment. That would be great. Oh, finger guns, not great. As per usual, if you'd like to talk to me about any of these books, always welcome. If you would like to just give me your thoughts on the format of book chat as a thing, please do, because I really enjoy doing this, just because I do read a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily have thoughts on for like a full video, but I do like to like mention them, just in case other people want to have a dialogue about them. Don't know if this is as enjoyable for you as it is for me. Give me your thoughts, that would be great. I hope you are having the loveliest of days, and I'll see you next week.